There's parts of working with clay and with art that, for instance, like this one is very much abstract art. In other words, it has no known function, and yet, you know, it's a container, it's this, it's that. So this one's name is Deep Underwater. And I remember looking at these pictures in National Geographic of way, way, way down in the bottom of the ocean. There are these little fuming pipes and things. And so why, in other words, those forms are part of life as we know it. And so it's great to bring it up and make it and see that that's part of the whole spectrum of forms that we're a part of. This piece, it has vine in its little arms, and so I can put wood and clay together, and it's a reoccurring theme for me to have them be faintly anthropomorphic, as in it's a person, and then it's a icon of that. In other words, it presents the spirit of a thing and uplifted arms, and this is, you know, part of the same kind of thought. Then with ash glazes and different colors and overlapping and wax resist, it may look a little random, but it's really not. You know, it's like that. It's an abstract painting, but I'm working in pottery, and so that's how it comes out. This piece is something from very recent, and look at the richness in that ash glaze, and this is a kind of a Japanese glaze called Shino, and it has a little iridescence in it, and it plays out, and you overlap and underlay, and it's actually crystally right in there. And again, you know, it's a vase which is really like a person standing. And when they describe, you know, these are the shoulders of a vase, and this is the foot and the body, and so pottery is very human-oriented art. I mean, the whole functionality that we serve our needs with pottery, and this I enjoy these. This is sort of like a little invention for a handle, but not what you'd usually think of. The chemistry of glazes is really made up of natural things, and there's three basic things in a glaze. You have your glass former, which is silica or sand. You have the retardant, the alumina, that actually helps it form a crystal structure other than glass, which is not a true solid at all, but a supercooled liquid. I mean, in other words, there's a whole world change between glass and glaze, but they look the same and they serve the same kind of purposes, but they're really different. And so I just work with the constituent parts chemically of what a glaze is and get enough in the sharing of all of it. In other words, the glass former all comes from the clay, and you're only putting flux onto the surface. Anyway, here you're going to see raw clay here. And so what I've done is I like to ladle. I have, you know, like 12 different sizes of ladles that I take this suspension of all the glaze materials in water, and I dip it out, and upside down then I pour it on, and it gives me a beautiful natural curve, and it doesn't cover the whole piece. I mean, This is high temperature stoneware, and it's completely waterproof. It doesn't need any glaze. But so what's the glaze for? It's just there for looks. You know, it's like clothes. And this is beach attire. The difference between paint and a glaze is that the pigments are already made of the color when they go into a paint. So the paint would just be without color, or would be kind of a white, and then you put these pigments in that have the color. The pigments would be like the glazes fired, having their final color development, and then grind them up, and they're the pigment. But I'm working from the minerals that go into making the glaze because it's melted and formed the final product, which is a crystalline, a larger crystalline structure. So it's the parts of what make a glaze, which are essentially the same minerals that you would find in a gemstone. In other words, the heat in the earth makes the little gemstones that we find. The heat in the kiln from those same minerals melting in the same way form the glazes. So the glazes are really like painted on gemstone, and of course they're much stronger than glass, and they're much more resistant to chemical stuff like, you know, like hydrochloric acid or nitric acid or acids that would come from like weak into food or strong out of the air. They won't touch that. And glass stands up good to acid. Glazes stand up much better. I mean, they're much stronger.